All right. So here we are. We're doing another Fearless Woman feature today. This time it's recorded, not live, because the woman I'm bringing to you all today doesn't have great internet for streaming. So we decided to record it. And then when you guys view it, it will be in the Facebook group as a recording. So I am excited today to be introducing you to my new friend, Bettina, and I don't know how to say your last name, so you'll have to say it, but Sparkles
It's
is her nickname.
yes,
So,
it yes. Obernuefemann, and we can skip that.
okay, Bettina
It
O.
just call me, yeah, Bettina Sparkles,
Okay, Bettina Sparkles.
because yes, please.
Is that a
And
German name, Obernuefemann?
you got that right. That's part of my story. I was
Okay.
born in Germany.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Awesome. Well, tell us where you live, where you're from. And oh, by the way, everybody,
Yes.
I met Bettina in that group I was telling you guys about the podcasting. So here's another fearless woman that I met from over there in that other group, and she's joined us here. So tell
Yes,
us
it was
all
a
about you.
five-day challenge with Steve Olsher.
Steve Olsher.
Really enjoyed that, and that's where I met you.
Yes.
And I'm honored to be here and meet all the ladies. I've seen some great ladies already. And so before I really start, I'd like to make a point that I feel like I'm from the old school. I learned from icons like Louise Hay, self-help from Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, John Bradshaw. And what's impressing me, and it's so exciting to meet you all because you are the new generations. I think the young ones that you've been interviewing, they're the new icons. And because the younger we are when we make our changes and get less fearless, you know, uh, get more fearless. So anyway, make our transformation, the younger the better. So I think that's happening with podcasts and these interviews. So I think you have a lot of talented ladies waiting.
I'm sure I do, but I think you're a very talented lady. And actually, a lot of my audience are women over 40, over 50. That's kind of who I speak to because I went through, that whole transition through midlife into figuring out what do I want to do now. And I'm actually turning 67 on Friday. So I'm not that young, but I feel like it. How old are you?
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Uh, this is a top secret and nobody would believe it, but I'm going to be 80.
No, no way. I would have thought you
Yes.
were maybe.
I'm wearing, I'm wearing my quarantine hairdo, dear.
You look beautiful. You don't
And
look 80 at all or close to it. You look so young.
yeah, so thank you. I'm young at heart.
Me too.
Yes, and I know that I felt that about you. And so my story uh, is about changing about midlife, about 45, 50. And I started out with two whammies. And I was born in Germany during World War II.
Wow.
And yeah, they say, oh, kids don't notice anything, they don't remember, but kids remember. Uh, it's all in my books, but anyway, I mean, I have visions of dead body parts on streets, and our own house was bombed and stuff. Um, so that was one whammy. And the other whammy was that I was born to a 17-year-old child and she had a child. So I had an unstable mother. and
Oh,
very, very maltreating.
oh, I'm so sorry.
And yeah, it, uh, you'll hear more about the story. You'll find it's quite unique. Uh, but when I was 10 years old, my parents took me over to America. And uh, I'll give you an example of what my mother said. Uh, just forget Germany and all the friends we had there. We're starting all over again. She was right in a way. We're starting the American dream, but you always have the feeling to those roots, you know. And I miss my friends. But she said, uh, so here we're starting over again. So I tried that. I started with the schools, learned how to speak English. I just skipped grades, what have you. But I always felt like an outsider. So it's been a fairly rough life. And the rest of the time, I'd like to share with you that God blessed me with one thing, and that is I became a stewardess.
Oh,
In
wow.
Yes, I did in 1965, Janelle.
Who were
And
you a stewardess?
remember,
What airline were you
it
with?
was an airline in Las Vegas called Bonanza. uh, owned, they all merged all the time. I was with Hughes Air West. I came with Northwest Airlines, and then retired with Delta. So I have an 38-year career as a stewardess flight attendant.
Yeah, they called them stewardesses back in the day. Yeah, my aunt was a stewardess. She is now 98. She's my dad's sister. She's still
Well,
alive, still bright as anything. She's adorable. And she was a stewardess on
see, she's
TWA.
probably right. TWA, yes. Uh, it's I enjoyed it so much because I love people and everything, you know, and so throughout this career, I grew as a woman. And when I was close to 50, as a matter of fact, it was one of the charter flights, the military flight. I had it triggered a recall. You know about PTSD. My mother told me to forget everything or nobody would help me. I suppressed everything.
Okay.
And all that, and I didn't know why I was so unhappy and so forth. I was really what you might call full of fear. And to me, the word fear is an umbrella word for um, uh, being anxious, being and not feeling your self-worth. It covers a lot of things. Being depressed, you can have low-grade depression and so forth. But so after the recall, I looked for help. I went to a psychologist, and I lucked out and got a good spiritual one, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
And he um, did what you call inner vision work.
okay.
And yes, and I know I've heard it for 30 years. Happiness is an inside job, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I really dedicated myself to facing my past hurts. I took one specific item to another, so it took me a long time. But my favorite technique, you know, a lot of PTSD books have been written, over the last few years, you know, because, and I don't really have to use the word PTSD anymore. Fearful is much, you know, that covers it.
Right.
So anyway, yeah. And so I did a lot of journaling, listened to audio tapes, went to retreats, workshops, couple of years, you know, and used a whole bunch of methods. And I have journals, stack high of journals. I believe in journaling.
Yes, me too.
So yes, you can express yourself. It makes it real for you, and there's some release then, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
The my favorite technique I call inner child work. It's work with your little girl inside. And I'll just give you a small example of what my therapist said how to start and talk to her. So I had a pretend dialogue with her. I said, "Hi, little Bettina." I said, "Hi, little Bettina. I'm sorry I neglected you for so long. I didn't know you were so hurt all this time. You didn't deserve that. And I know you were told to keep it quiet, and you never felt safe, and you could never sleep at night, and all." And I said, "But I'm here now for you, and I'm here to help you." Wow. Now, would you believe when I did that, I was in meditative type of stage. What happened is the little girl answered in German.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
She answered in German.
Huh.
Yes. And she said, I'm glad you're finally here, and I believe you," and so forth. And yeah. And these are called inner dialogues with your inner child. This is called inner child work. And I evolved that. I did quite a bit, either writing in the journals or verbally even. So, that's when I started to be a fearless woman. It was the start of it.
Yes.
Because, yes, I got more confidence. So the next thing that happened is I started feeling better. See, before I believed nothing would ever change. You know, the old Bettina, nothing would ever change. Yeah. When I finally had an answer that I could face the past and release it, and I've got to feeling better and better, I wanted to share it with everybody. Ever since then, I've got the passion to share it with people. Yeah. And that's when the writing began. The books are about that and so forth. Wow. And all that time I was still flying. I was still a flight attendant. Oh, wow. Till 2003. Till 2003.
Not that long ago. Well,
so it's been quite quite a story.
Well, I love the whole idea of the inner child. I was just having a conversation last night in one of my groups. We were going there with her because it was just something from her childhood, and we start talking to your inner child and recognizing what she's been through. She's still in there, and that
absolutely
memories often from our childhood are what are holding us back today, and we don't even realize it. So that's really powerful. That's a cool technique.
Oh, that's my premise. That's what I work on, Janelle. Yeah. That's what I work on.
So what do you do? I know
one of the things
I was going to say, let's talk about your books.
Okay. The main book is a PTSD book. It's a PTSD book. Hang on.
Okay.
PTSD book. Can you see it okay?
Yep. PTSD.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The name of it is Set Your PTSD Free. See,
I love the birds coming out of
in the
cage.
dark.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. It starts out in the darkness, goes into the light.
Wow.
I sort of designed that with a friend myself here, right where I live. You notice the birds are out of the cage. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And in this, it has all the inner child conversations that I was just talking about.
Oh, okay. Fabulous.
So a lot of examples.
So anybody
I have
watching
another method.
well, hold on a second. Anybody watching this video, if they get that book, if you're struggling with PTSD, this will help them a lot, and they'll be able to use your inner child technique. Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And if they have any problems starting, they can call me personally. I'll give personal information because I trust this group, you know.
Yeah. And
But,
what about if you're
what
if you're struggling from PTSD and it doesn't come from childhood, it comes from some traumatic event later, you know, like guys in the go into battle and combat situations, or maybe an accident or an abusive situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's my premise is that, and then I have a book that says so, 85% of us have some kind of trauma as a child. And so like when we're 3 to who knows 6, 7, you know, and then of course as a child you can't heal it because you're usually forced to keep it quiet.
Yeah.
After then you grow up, this is another huge thing of mine. After you grew up, you become this physical woman, and you have this little girl inside of you that's not grown up emotionally. So when you do the inner child work, you're really reparenting her, you're giving her confidence to grow up, to mature more. It's a fantastic healing program.
Wonderful.
But yes, thank you. It's so great. I hope people like this. I'll show you where I live. I live in central Arkansas, north central, and I live, if you all know where Branson is, it's a well-known place, a resort area. I only live 3 hours away from there. Okay. But my husband and I were gonna buy 20 acres or so. Then some salesmen, 25 years ago, land was cheap in Arkansas. So behind me is a picture. All of this is ours. It's 130 acres. It's got a hill and caves and creeks on it. And we live on top of this ridge.
Oh, wow.
Can you see it okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. But so I do live remote and only use has the antenna for me to use Zoom. I can't use Skype or any of that. Oh, yeah, you knew that.
Yeah.
But anyway, something exciting I've been doing here. This is a different part of the country that aren't really into new ideas. However, I did work as a volunteer advocate where I hosted meetings, yes, for domestic abuse shelter.
Wow.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. The lady took me in. I took my book to every meeting and gave it to the ladies. And I said, ladies, I know you're in crisis. I've been there and I got out of it and you got too. And I did that for 5 years, Janelle, the past 5 years. And anyway, it was so rewarding to see. First, they came in sad, they don't know what to do. And it was just to cheer them up, because a shelter will help them get an apartment and work. I was there to uplift them, that's just my job, help you feel better about yourself. So that, hey, you can do it. I'm empowered to do it,
Yes, that's
But
powerful. It's like the old adage,
it was
right? Not just give a man a fish, but teach him to fish for himself. So you're giving them that gift.
right. And I spent time with them to start a journal and often and many, many things. It was very, very rewarding.
Well, you're doing amazing things in the world right there. I mean, you're just an inspiration, really, to be doing all that you've done and come through what you've come through, and a young, almost 80, still with it today, like up to date and getting on Zoom and doing things in the world, even living in a place. Like, you're not quitting. That's what I love. Like, you are still living life and living your purpose. You go, girl.
Wait till you're here. Go, girl. And you won't believe this one. What? I had open heart surgery in 2017.
Wow. That's like 3 years ago. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had the major one.
Go ahead.
What kind did she have?
She had
what kind?
She had triple bypass, and she was, how old was she? She died at 84, so it was probably in her mid 70s or something like that. My husband had open heart surgery in 2013, so he was only 53, something like that.
Right. The way I understand that, the bypass, they open you up and they work outside your heart. Yeah. In my case, I had the mother of all heart operations. Oh. It was the aortic valve.
Oh my gosh.
Which you cut into it. I have a pig valve.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So it's I'll tell you, I have a little fatigue. I do my thing, say, for an hour, so my chores, but I have to take breaks in between. Make sure I exercise a little bit.
Yeah.
However, it's my spiritual life that, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, all the talking to my inner child and everything, I started going on a spiritual path. I'm on quite a spiritual path.
Nice.
And that's what's supporting me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't have any worldly attachments.
That's good, because we're not of this world.
So, exactly.
This is not our home.
We're really spirit. Yes. And, but your approach of the woman emerging fearlessly is great for us to move forward. And as I said, the younger, the better. So if I can be helped to have that, I'd be perfectly happy.
Well, you are a wealth of wisdom, experience, knowledge, and very sparkly and energetic. I think that you would be an awesome resource for any age woman, really. So anybody watching this, if you have been touched by what Bettina has been sharing, just her story and her zest for life and all that she's given back, like, that's huge. When we look at life that way, that our purpose is giving back and helping others and sewing into other people and loving other people, that is what lasts forever. And that's what really counts, right? Nothing else really matters. And you're such a good example for us of that. And I'm just really impressed
Thank
and
you, Janelle.
inspired and glad to have met you. I'm glad that you're in my world. So
I am glad to be with all the other ladies and go for it, everybody. And
yeah.
I will be supporting other speakers, guests, and anybody. I'm here.
Yes. And if anyone's interested in that book, or you have other books, right? How many books do you have? Have you written?
Yes, I do. I have 3 books, and then I have some community books. I just released one called Courage Under Siege, book 6.
Mhm.
The subtitle is Hurt to Healing. It was just released, and it's an Amazon bestseller already.
Wow, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Best release, the best new release. It's
Hmm.
Courage Under Siege.
Okay.
Is a series, Courage Under Siege, and it's book 6.
Okay.
And I have an article in there that I compare dealing with COVID-19 and use the same tools as my PTSD, and so you have a better attitude, you can cope with it, adjust better, and everything that goes on around us. You can keep peace. I call myself the eye of the storm. Peace in here and the storm all around.
That's amazing. So what would you say, what's your definition of a fearless woman?
It is a person having felt their feelings of hurt and having released them, so room can come in for new thoughts. By the way, the fears I call fibs, which are false beliefs and ideas that other people told us. The outside world. Those are fibs.
Uh-huh.
I got lots of stuff.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. Yep. So I love that. I love that definition of fearless, is looking at say that again, because I'm recording this, but
looking at your hurts of your past, and releasing them. So you have because they have never really been felt before.
Okay.
Feel your feelings.
Yes.
Let the hurt feelings go, and then there's room for a little bit more joy and more confidence.
Yeah.
And go forward.
So true. Yeah.
Enthusiasm.
Yes.
We can go forward with enthusiasm.
Amen. Yes. And I love that idea, because if we're holding on to a lot of hurts and wounds, we don't have room for the joy. So we have to feel it, release it, and then we can have room. And that's a great way to look at it. It's it's right on. It really is right on. So we're attached to those things.
Thank you.
We have to let them go, and then, and then make room. So make room for joy.
Right.
Love it.
Yes.
Yes. Good. Well, thank you for being on here with me today. It's been a joy to meet you and talk with you. And I know my group's going to love getting to know you and knowing that you're in our group, and definitely interact with Bettina, buy some of her books. I'll put some of those in the comments when I post this in Facebook. You'll see her books, or at least those 2, and you can find her. You can find her books on Amazon, and you can message her if you'd like to talk with Bettina. And I think she is going to be on my podcast, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'd love to be on your podcast.
Yeah, I don't know whether we scheduled it yet or not, but I know you're on my list.
No.
So, okay. All right. Well, I'll be sending you all that info, but it's been awesome to have you on. Thank you so much. And we will be talking to you again very, very soon.
Thank you.